Welcome to the March edition of the Jaffna Club monthly Zoom, as usual on the last Sunday of the month. Today we have Shanthi Bhagirathan and Jesmin Francis, so two leading women entrepreneurs, one at a national level. So Shanthi has held many roles, including director at the Capital Maharajah's group. I'll allow Shanthi and Jesmin to tell a bit more about themselves in a moment. And Jesmin runs her own company and is a consultant to NGOs, but she too will tell us more about herself. Now, this is one of the most important issues in the northern province, and I think in Sri Lanka, because so much of our economy is actually in personnel terms run by women. But what we've seen is that while women are starting up many businesses, they're never progressing from micro to small to medium. And I myself personally, and we should all be very interested in why that is. So I didn't pick up their contact details. I will share their contact details when the recording goes out tomorrow, or maybe the day after tomorrow, because I'll be on a plane tomorrow. So as usual, I will go over our objectives for people who've never been at one of these sessions before, particularly the recordings. So the Jaffna Club will facilitate, foster and support social intercourse and fellowship among its members. It builds a network of members and non-members that can work together to promote the economic development of the Northern Province. What is the club for? The club is a catalyst to help people like us connect with each other and help people like us connect with Northern entrepreneurs and business opportunities. So the reason I say it is a catalyst is that the club doesn't try to build businesses, it doesn't collect money, it doesn't donate money, but it allows people to link to each other. And over the 5 years that we've been doing this, without fail, every month, many times people have connected, investments have been made, business contacts have been made. But that's all been done outside the club. We are only a catalyst. So we've had speakers since September 2020. I'll slowly page through this. You can see the sort of people we've had. We've had CEOs, managing directors from the tourism industry, from the IT industry. We had Jesmin Francis, the governor, a few years ago. We've had lawyers, we've had academics, educationalists, several are diaspora who returned to set up businesses here. Many are people who were in Jaffna or in Sri Lanka throughout. Last month, we had Tulasi Mutalingam, who was talking about English language education and the failures and the improvements that exist here in the north. So here we will start with Shanthi and Jesmin. So now, the way I want to run this isn't a normal presentation. This is going to be a panel, an interview with me controlling the session. So if people want to ask questions, can you put your hand up? So using the Zoom hand up, or if you don't know where the Zoom hand up button is, then just politely say, I'd like to say something. But I'm going to control this very tightly because of time. So to start off with, if Shanthi and Jesmin, if you can each spend about 2 minutes telling us about yourselves. So shall we go first, Shanthi?
Thank you, Jakan, and hi everyone there. Just very briefly, I'll just give an intro to myself. I think we have connected some time back. So I basically I want to say this thing. I'm from Jaffna. My hometown is Jaffna. After my education there, then I moved to do my graduation in India. Then I moved to UK. Um, so very specifically, I did a master's in UK at London Business School, then at University of South Florida, then my business finance from National University of Singapore, NUS. I wanted to say this thing because that has all relevance to what we are going to talk today, I think. Then post that, my working career is I work for a couple. I was lucky enough to work a couple of multinationals like P&G, Reckitt and Coleman. And then I was country head for Pepsi International. And then I had a shift on my career with moved to media with BBC and then Sun TV India for a little stint. Then I took charge of the Maharaja Media Network. I've been there for over years, but I've always between I do a switch from the job and I move out and do something completely other side. I say I want to feel the people and I go to the other side. So that's how my Pepsi careers happen. So this whole thing has given me a larger perspective looking at things. So my I look at things always with a name and a brand, and that comes from my initial working career. Then my working for media always made to see looking at people and profiles, communities, and each one is so different, so diversified, and there is nothing called a small or a big. It's a scale may be different, but the concept would be the same. So that's the way that I have seen. And I've also had regional position that I've held for the Asia Pacific for as the head of television radio programming for the region. So that's my background. And recently, I think the latest venture and the most likable venture was the Northern Investment Summit. I was part of it. And it was really great working because I've also connected with a lot of people who now matters, and I see Northern investment as an investment for the country, and so that's the way I see it. So thank you, Jagan. That's a very I think it's a long one. Sorry, it's a brief one. Yeah, that's
No,
me.
that was useful. Thank you. So, Jasmine, it's your turn.
Hello, I'm Jesmin from Killinochchi. Actually, I'm based in Pune. I did my engineering in University of Peradeniya and did some master-related things in University of Moratuwa and Colombo University. Actually, now I'm doing a cashew nut processing center in Pune. We started in 2019 and now about 20 women are working. And I also a vice chairperson of Northern Chamber of Industries, where we have 160 businesses as our members, and it represents all 5 districts in northern part of Sri Lanka. Also, as a other career, I'm working as a consultant for Asian Development Bank. Now about and World Bank also for some times, but now it's basically Asian Development Bank for now 2 years. It's a continuous work for community empowerment work. Actually, that's some livelihood, business related things we are working on.
Thank you,
Thank
Jasmine.
you.
So I was very lucky to get Jasmine and Shanthi because they give two very different perspectives, one at a national level and Jasmine more focused on the Northern Province. So when I'm looking at women businesses, I see there's a huge focus in this country on entrepreneurship. Everyone's talking about being an entrepreneur. And in my opinion, and I get told off by various people, entrepreneurship is a smokescreen to hide unemployment. So if someone doesn't have a job, make them an entrepreneur. But there are many women who are starting up very nice, promising businesses. But what we find, or what I've seen, is that when these women try to scale from this startup, which may be in their kitchen or maybe with their daughter and son, they can't move beyond that. So may I ask Jasmine first, why are these women businesses not scaling up? What's holding them up?
Yeah, well, Jigan, in North, actually, we need to separate. There are a lot of businesses. There is the entrepreneurship and the businesses in North are mixed. Actually, we don't have much entrepreneurs. They wanted to do something, they have some idea and form into the business. It's not that case. Many of the women started their business as their livelihood activity, and with managing their family and managing the business, even though they have get a very good experience and the spirit to expand, but they feel struggle with the family responsibility and all. Then for after some times they came to a mind that it's enough. Many of them, but there are very few. They started with the entrepreneurship mind and moving forward. In that case, we see very good growth, but it's number of entrepreneurs in that. Case is very less, and also some women's they are happy to move, but again the family background and also the education background also big, because I don't think in North it's entrepreneurship or running a business their own. It's a very good option for women. So uh, many very few came with that spirit. So the others did not come to that field. So we don't have many
So,
very growing businesses.
so Jasmine, so would you say that the main thing that's holding them back is they basically want to make enough to feed their families, and they don't have ambitions beyond that?
Yeah, in many we can't very about 50% we can say in that case, because they could not go beyond that. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
So,
because of their education,
Jasmine,
family responsibility.
sorry, Jasmine. So if we look at the other 50%, so we have 50% who don't want to go beyond looking after the family. If we look at the other 50% who do,
Mm.
what is holding them back? And shall we move to Shanthi? So Shanthi, if you could give us your thoughts on this.
Okay. If you look at women in business, if you look at, there are a few things. I think it's also to do with the community, social norms, and also at homes. Some of us are lucky, I would say. We have the fullest support from our families. But see, if you were to actually grow hard and high in businesses, you also need to, there is nothing called, the moment you start put a barrier saying you're a woman in business, you're a man being in a business, then you automatically are putting a barrier there, because especially in corporate sectors, see things, very basic things. When you grow up the ladder, which means you're communicating with a lot of people, your networking becomes very, very, very important if you want to be successful in that. And networking means you're networking with different kinds of people, men, women, corporate sector people. And how does our society look at it? I'm not talking just Sri Lanka in general. I'm talking about, the region as well. That's number one. And there are days that you may have to work a little later. Again, is everyone geared at home? You have, one is how people look at it. You're getting late, coming late, and it doesn't look nice. That's one thing. Second is you have responsibilities at home. Like you will have a partner, you'll have your children, you will have maybe your elders, in-laws. These things comes in, because we are still on a largely the women are the caregivers in the home is system still runs. And when you're working, okay, we in a Sri Lankan, in an Asian context, Sri Lankan context, when you have children, post confinement, you have this period where you can actually paid leave is there. And in the Western world, you have even the fathers can actually take, your partners can actually, you are entitled to take paid leave. So you always balance a period along the child, looking out the child. Here, it's largely dependent on the female. So when you look after them, these are very practical things I have seen in our organization that I worked in. They can't come to work regular. Two, they get late to come, and then you get penalized by the HR, and then when your performance appraisals will reflect on that as well. And when a child is unwell, then you have to be there. If your parents are unwell, you're expected as a female to take care of. Very few families where the opposite sex actually supports, saying, no, you go, I will take care of things, I will stay with the child, is very, very, very limited, I would say. I won't say no, but I think it's something that a female also, I think the female also takes charge of it. No, no, I will say it's not that in some occasions that the female would opt to stay back rather than asking the partner or someone else at home or putting another person to look after. So all these things, end of the day, would reflect on your performance. And also management sees it when it goes for even recruitment. If you go, you would look at equally capable two people. You would say, okay, she's in a, if you're not still married, they would say she's going to be getting married one of these days, and she's going to have, then she's going to go on leave. These are discussed even in offices, these are discussed. So those kind of situations sometimes becomes a hurdle, but very few of them manage to kind of you juggle and then you move forward, and I think it's a mindset also in female side of it sometimes in
So
so
sorry
these
to
are
interrupt.
yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Recently, just um, a couple of weeks ago, I was invited to this um, dinner by one of the national banks, and there were no other women there. So they had invited senior businessmen from the north, Jaffna, the north, and not only were there no other businessmen, women there were not even females in the bank team. The only women who were there were seven. And I think that this is I thought it was very sad when I saw that. So I'm thinking not so much about people moving up in the corporate space, but for women entrepreneurs. Shanthi, you said something very interesting there about networks, access to power. Can
They
you
do
say something
actually.
about that? And
See,
then I'll ask Jasmine.
see, in whether it's corporate or SME, now look at SMEs. If you don't network, you will not know many people. And SMEs are about your markets is too small, and you need to look at export markets, right? And again, you need to go for trade fairs. You need to be present in places where people are there. You take a stall, or you could promote your businesses, which means you're traveling outside your comfort zone, hometown to Colombo, even overseas. Now, how does a female look at it? One, home pressure. Are you going to go? Who is going to look after? Two, the female herself. How am I going to travel? Where am I going to stay? All this. So I think you can't put the blame totally on a situation on the home and things you're responsible. But it's also a thing to do with the female herself. It's the confidence that you feel. I can manage, or I will ask my home to take care of things. See, I still would want to travel. Because if you don't network, you will not be able to connect with people, means you're not connecting with markets as well. And in a corporate sector, if you don't network, you can't get things. I mean, we call in our own language, you can't get things done in a jiffy. You just make a call quickly and say, look here, I need this thing. Can you kind of tell me who, or can I need this thing? Can you do it? Now, this call may be a local call, or maybe an overseas or somewhere else. So that is networking, and that happens through meeting, going for conferences, going for various others, some of these events that you go. And some of them do it they don't do anything else but network. And they are the
Yeah.
best connecting people. They don't even sit for the programs. They're exchanging cards and saying hi, hello during coffee breaks too. Otherwise, they're on. And now we see a lot of them on the mobile saying, I haven't met you. And so networking is a key thing for whether it's corporate or SMEs.
So can I ask Jasmine, Because I know Jasmine and I have been friends for quite some time, and I know that she's built up her business, her product. I shouldn't be advertising, but it's delicious. But I know as deputy chair of the Northern Chamber of Industry, I know Jasmine does do networking and she goes on trade shows. But she's a very unusual lady. Jasmine, how can you encourage or help the people in the Northern Province, the ladies, to network more efficiently? What should be done?
Yeah, actually, through the chamber, now in the business case, we wanted to promote some business talk in district wise because anyway, even though many rural areas that when we look at the women interest or their enthusiasm missing or the situation is the more powerful to prevent them to involve in the business is the situation actually. So the safer zone it's safer zone mean it's the fundamental safer zone is missing there many cases. So anyway, beyond this thing, we need to develop the networking. It's very poor, very poor. Actually, I'm also one of the very poorest networking person, even though my education is supported me to participate in the training program and or maybe overseas trade fair. That is only because there are a lot of opportunities available for women entrepreneurs and English speaking entrepreneurs in the North, but there are very few are able to do that. So many of the um, Export Development Board exhibitions, we are the only eligible from North. So that is one case. So we wanted to develop that. So it's really a very challenging task. So that's why the regional one maybe support to even rather
How
than
did,
the. Mm.
sorry, Jasmine, how did you build your network? Because you have quite a good network. How did you do it?
Um, oh, maybe actually the challenge I faced when I start the business, right? I wanted to make that easy for others. So I created that my network on my own forcefully. Actually, I'm also not a very good networking person, but for to make them others, I wanted to create a safer environment where I feel safe. It's wanted to connect. That's why it's come. You are the one of the very good person I connected to connect with more many people. That's also another good thing. Yes.
But so I see Vasi in, I can't remember if he's in Colombo or Australia at the moment, but he's asking, is there any women's organization that helps this networking in the North or even in Colombo? Can I ask Shanthi, is there a women's organization that helps women entrepreneurs network?
There are a few, like for instance, the Women's Chamber in Colombo is fairly active. So they have these various programs once a month, quarters, and also there are Zonta Club is another place. Working women come together and then do have meets, and then they also arrange community-based activities. So it's not just going and meeting and sitting and chatting, but they are doing something useful, and they come together and do all these things. So there are a few. Um, uh, there are, yes.
So, Jasmine, in your, I know the Women's Chamber opened a Jaffna chapter about 3 years ago, I think. So, without talking specifically about the Women's Chamber or anything, are there organizations in the North to help women network?
Actually, women network, I did not see in that case, but the only I think no, the WOOSC is supporting for the women entrepreneurs, and also Chrysalis is supporting. Some two organization is mainly supporting. Some other UNDP that is only for growth, and within their program, women meet and get connected among the businesses, not really with the other stakeholders.
Right. Yes. Yes. Because talking about networking and moving on to uh, financing, raising finance. So the women entrepreneurs, actually all entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs, micro, small entrepreneurs, struggle to raise finance. but I think women in particular have an issue there. What is your experience, Jasmine?
Yeah, actually, I just share my experience. Then, when we start the business, for some extent, we invested our own money. Then I was able to employ about 13 employees with that one. So I saw a definite growth for my business, but we don't have capital to invest. But even from start, we run the business through the bank. But if we don't have collateral, because I have so many paddy land that is not enough to get the collateral. So we could not get any loan or anything from banks. We could not get support. So it was a very big challenge, and now also very many businesses facing. So then actually I was able to get a grant from USAID. That was the only thing was able to scale up my business for 20 women now working. So it is really a need of many SMEs in the north. They struggle to provide collateral. That's why we recently started, even with Jagan's support, to match the businesses that with who are ready to invest and go for some diaspora investment opportunities. Still, we face some challenges in matching that accounts and all to keep it ready and all. It's a process, but I think we need to do that one. Otherwise, I could not make my company to employ about 20, right? It takes
Vasi,
another 5 years maybe.
Yeah, Jasmine, a simple question. Can you hear
so
me?
this is, yeah,
Yes.
Vasi, do you want to just
Yeah.
tell us who you are?
Yeah, Jasmine, I'm in Colombo. Look, now Jasmine knows me. Jasmine, from your organization, your Kaju project, can you tell me the role the women play in the north? I mean, like in supplying raw material, manufacturing, and how comfortable you are with the
Actually,
please.
yeah. Thanks. Very good question, Vashi. Actually, in our company, all are women rather than only a security person. All are women, and they are doing sales, they are doing mechanical repairing and everything. And also we have 40% of women suppliers. Maybe the direct supplier may be mostly working with women, and it is 50% in that case. But the women supplier, if the land is registered with them, they are supplying. In that case, it's 40.
So in
But
terms of the
I'm
machine
sorry.
capacity,
Yes.
sorry, in terms of the machine capacity, are you utilizing the entire capacity for
No,
processing?
no. Actually, I was planned to install my company in 5 years with 100-ton processing capacity, right? So in the
Right.
second or third year, I expand 100 ton. Now we are processing only 40 tons, right? 40 tons. It's a 40% of the machineries we used, but right. This is actually several times we tried this one to even last year, we had enough working capital to go for 60%. But the cashew nut supply was a bit tricky, and there was a rainy season. We could not get enough, but I'm very sure in this case, actually, I'm not a profit, even though the business is profitable. I'm very care about loss. The working cap, 70% of our cost goes to cashew nut processing, the cashew nuts. So if the cashew nuts quality is very low, then we can't make profit at all. So we'll reduce the purchasing for that limit. I hope this year we are going for the 60%.
So can I ask Shanthi? Shanthi, from where you are, you can walk into any bank director's office. From what you see, do the banks have any conscious or unconscious bias against women entrepreneurs?
So, a tough question to answer. If you ask me, I would say no. Personally, Shanti doesn't have an issue because first, I think I don't, when in the way I have made myself into my profession is there is not a man or a woman scenario. You go. So I think that's a couple of things I think, Jakan, is one is confidence, right? That is very, very key, So if you see very successful women who are in business today, they're fairly confident people. Now, even look at, I have met Jasmine for the recent time, not too long ago, but I know, she'll move around anywhere. She'll move things happening. So even in corporate sector, when you look at people who have been, so that's one thing. Other thing is risk taking. Generally, women are seen as they are no big risk takers. And I don't know whether it's true, but I tend to go onto that side a little bit. They do take risk. Otherwise, they won't be successful moms with their children. But in business, I think there is something that is there. And also, generally, a lot of women, they start successful. What I've seen, I follow a lot of these females who are internationally kind of, and in India, there is a pharmaceutical giant. She's a female, and they study the subject in detail. This is the strength of the women. They don't do things on surface. They would go into deep depth and do this. Those are the ones who are successful. But if you look at technology, you would see very few. And if you don't know technology in anything, whether it's SME or anywhere, productivity, in upgrading efficiency, and being in power in a global market, even on an SMB, you would want those. Those things you're not going to be in power there. And then accounting, finance. A lot of them tend to kind of depend on their finance people, accounting people in whatever. But I think that's another key area that females need to be in any part, whether it's on a small or a larger scale or whatever. You need to know your numbers so that you can become very efficient and high performing guys. What I have seen in business, in corporate sector, women-led corporates, and all the gentlemen here, don't take me wrong, but I think the women-led corporates are very successfully, very profitably, it can happen. And also there is you will have a nice teamwork that happens because there is a lot of empathy that happens with females. The gentleman, very good in strategy, running businesses, but time spent with staff members sometimes can be less. I've seen it with my own eyes. Colleagues who are, we are equal power and spending time with their co-workers sometimes may not be. If there is a trouble, they will definitely, but otherwise, knowing them a little more to kind of get the best out of them sometimes lacking. So these are some of the things I think. And also the general thing is the captain of the ship is always a man. That kind of tendency, even the female thing. It's not in the general thought comes in. Whether I can do it in. Those are some of the things that I would see which may perhaps is actually holding them back.
Thank you, Shanthi.
But I want to add one thing for Shanti's one. Actually, even me, the getting personal loan is not a problem, but getting a loan for business, it's really hard, and it's in because the banks are not assessing the performance in the transaction wise. They definitely need a collateral, right? In concept of asset, the many of the businesses, they put their asset in the business, right? They don't have any land or anything, but it's now they don't value any movable assets. If they have land, they might have taken a vehicle for that now. But so that is the very big barrier. And for small businesses, some banks, actually many banks has that law that if the land is with the family and husband also signed, that type of the rural level laws are there in Sri Lanka that are not removed yet. So that also a barrier.
So there we have two questions, Tusitha and Bernard Sinha. Tusitha, if you go first, and then Sinha.
Yes, I think both Shanti as well as Jesmin were talking about, and you brought this question, is there like a bias when women go to banks. Uh, from the chamber, we actually did a study a few years ago to find out whether banks really have unconscious bias at the point of serving a woman entrepreneur versus a man, and it exists. But the thing is, at the top, all these banks preach that they are not allowing it to happen. But what really happens is that thinking doesn't get cascaded to the front line. So now the chamber has signed up with a few banks. Yasmin, I'll talk to you and maybe we can help you because Yasmin is actually part of NCI and we work very closely with her as well. There are a few banks who are actually having very direct contacts with the chamber, and through that our members and our people who work with us, they support at a greater level. So they would have a point of contact, a female service person. So let's try that option also and see. And then the second thing is the government is actually trying to do this is through an ADB funding. There is a body that has been set up for the banks to give collateral-free loans, which this ADB fund is guaranteeing up to a 70%. That hasn't kicked off effectively well, but it should. We are also pushing that. So there are some things that are happening.
Okay, thank you, Tosita. And Sinha, Bernard.
So I think I'm going to agree with Shanthi and Tushita. This basically, I think whether it is a women-driven entrepreneur or a business, or is a male-dominated, at the end of the day, when you come to a bank, the bank will evaluate on the quality of the business, right? So what we find is that whether it is, and as much as some of the women's needs are being rejected, there are a lot of men's needs also being rejected, entrepreneurs also being rejected, because some of these businesses, like I think Yasmin used the word livelihood, so it becomes like a hobby. You bring a hobby to the bank, zero chance of getting funding, right? So you need to bring a disciplined business model, plan, financial forecast, and then the bank will look at it in a very professional way. So before we think about whether we are a man or woman, the quality of the business and the objective of the business, is it just another business, growing 10 chicken at the back of the house versus a business like Yasmin's, there's completely different things, right? So we need to do that. That's one thing. The other thing, I think, Jagan, you touched on a question about why there are not many women in the senior positions and things like that. So we did a study when I was at Citi and even at NDB. Most of the women who join us at an officer level, after 5 to 7 years, they leave because of some of the comments that Shanthi made, because they become pregnant and they want to stay at home, or they want to take some time off, and when they come back, they may not be able to get back to the same jobs. So there are some areas where it's holding the women back. So, in a proper organization, you should be able to give the same job back, right? And give maybe a 6 months instead of 3 months, and maternity or paternity leave as well. So most of the international banks are now embracing that, right? So if we also embrace in Sri Lanka, it will do that. And then the one other thing is that we talked about networking and things like that, but the quality of the employee and the employer is very important, right? There is no substitute for high quality performance, right? If you perform very well, at least you take one. You tick one of the boxes, right? Okay, there is a bias against women. I don't deny that, but sometimes, people don't perform, and then they feel that they are being discriminated because they are women, right? And or minority, or I am a dark person, and this and that, right? So nothing is going to substitute a disciplined business model, right? Performance, right? And then, true forecast, and being ready for the bank to have a look at it, right? And if you do all that, I think you have a better chance. I'm not saying that this is everything is hunky-dory, but that's just my experience. I'm just telling you.
So, Bernard Sinna, so one of the things you said is how they present their business and whether it looks like a hobby or whether it's presented in a professional way. Now, I know that there are some women entrepreneurs out there who are dedicated to their businesses. They're working hard, but they don't know how to present it. So is there a need? So this is a question to all of you. Is there a need for some agency to just sit with the women entrepreneurs, charge them 50,000 rupees or something, but sit with them and help them develop a business proposal to go to the bank with?
I mean, there is definitely a need and a gap, but as Shanthi suggested, it's also networking, right? When you network, you will have 150 people helping you. But if you're going to sit at home and getting upset about this and that, it's not going to work, right? So whether there is, I think you mentioned WIN or something like that, but some kind of organization, women organization, but also now say if you go to Colombo Club, right? I think this time the president is a woman, I think, if I'm not wrong, right? So there are various places where the women are thriving in these organizations, right? But there is also some people feel, networking is politics and all those things. It's not. It's about getting to know more people who will help you. These people, this world. I mean, I know for Sri Lanka, I mean, I live in UK, but people are very nice. They will help you, always help you, right? But you need to connect with them.
Yes.
And that's where I think
sorry, I saw Shanthi raise her hand.
So Jagan, I just to everyone. I think see, even I mean, coming from where I come from, even a lot of guys can't present themselves to a bank, right? But they will somehow get someone to do it, and they'll get around. So my question is, what stops a female to take that lead? I want something done. I sit down, go through my projecting, and then find my way, and then go and present it, because I am the one who knows best for what I want, right? So I think that's what I use the word, the confidence, whether I can do it comes. I think it's also to do with, if you just go back to basics in a household when you grow up, you always have this male child given a little preference. I call it the mother's blue-eyed boy. I mean, because that's supposed to be the one to run the family, to look after the family at large, then get married, look after his family. It's a normal norm that comes into most of these families in. But I think that's the first hurdle to break. So I think it starts from home. And where you are, like, okay, you have a girl and a boy, you have 2 children or 4 children, treat them equal. And make sure the son in the family also knows the sister is very important, so that he will give that back when he gets married or with his partner or wife or whatever. He would do the same thing. So I think that is something that needs to be looked at. We don't go into that, go way back and look at a problem. But the problem starts there. Because all these people whom we are talking in banks, offices, or anyone is coming from homes which it gets passed on. It's like a genetics that gets passed on. The boy can come late, the girl can't come late. Or the boy can understand finance better, the girl doesn't know how to do something. So I think, I don't think we should say the girl cannot go to a bank and do something. They will, I'm sorry to the ladies who are there, I may sound a little abrupt, but I think it's an attitude of the females as well. Because I've gone.
Sorry, carry on, finish.
No. So I think I'm just personal. It's my own personal thing is I've never took no for an answer. in a group of, I sit in a boardroom which doesn't, we are not equal 50-50 in a boardroom, but I think the women who are there much more, their voices are more heard than the other women. In the boardroom that I sit for, there are 2 boardrooms that I sit, and both are like that. So it's to do with the quality rather than quantity is what I would say.
No, I agree with that. But I can see Sathi and Anu have both got their hands up. So I'll let Sathi go next and then Anu. But I just want to make a quick comment that there is room for mentoring these entrepreneurs. I myself have mentored entrepreneurs. And I remember one in particular who came along. She had a terrible proposition for a brilliant business idea. And what it was a laundry service for university students. So I sat with her, did some fairly basic changes, and she won this competition. So if there was a service where, and not only women, but even the men when they come, to do some mentoring with them for 1 hour, maybe twice, 1 hour on Monday and then 1 hour on Wednesday.
Jagan, can I interrupt you for a second? So what happened to her after that?
Okay, I refuse to say. All right, so I'll tell you.
No, like she's a successful entrepreneur now.
No. So she was so she did this really nice proposal. She won. She got 100,000 rupees. I myself was interested, and a couple of other people were interested in that, but she just dropped it. But that's not the point. The point is, can you make the proposal? Her thoughts were somewhere else. She was doing it as academic exercise. But to turn a terrible presentation into a good presentation doesn't take much effort. I'll go to Sathi and then Anu. Sathi, you're muted. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Excuse my background noise. I'm doing my evening walk and talking to you. Actually, what I would like to say, I don't have much experience or knowledge to talk about women entrepreneurs, but I can talk for entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka. I've been an entrepreneur for the last nearly 40 years in Sri Lanka, and I also come from Jaffna originally. So, 2 things. One is the entrepreneurs need to train themselves in other aspects of business than exactly what they are doing. As somebody said, they need to understand. Even I have met entrepreneurs in north, south, everywhere. They can't even read out P&L or a balance sheet. Number 1. So they need to train other aspects of the training is very important. Secondly, networking, you must have to understand what is your strategic focus on networking. Is it to obtain bank loan or is it to do marketing? So these are the strategic focus the businessmen have to do. Certain places we go, we network for marketing purpose. But certain places, and you have to train yourself how to network. It's all available online today. So these are the 2 comments I want to know. So there are lot of things which we discussed today. A comment to it's not a gender biased. It's entrepreneurs who, on both gender has the same problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sathi. Anu.
Entrepreneurship itself is more than 8 to 5 jobs. That's number 1. Number 2, the post-conflict situation in Jaffna has basically made the social fabric disappear, where discipline and all this hardworking intellectual that the Jaffna is known for is little by little diminishing. Third is that when we say women entrepreneurship, we are unintentionally pushing them to a lifestyle which is going beyond 8 to 5 job, where there's no maternity leave, there is no incentive of being a mother. At the same time, it is taking quality time as a parent from their children. So my question is, what are we trying to promote? Are we trying to promote women employment, or are we going to promote women entrepreneurship? Because either way, the outcome in 15 years is completely different. So what is the answer for this conundrum? Women employment increasing or women entrepreneurship increasing? What do you see for the Northern Province?
Would either Jasmine or Shanthi like to respond to that?
Since I've been working on this empowerment of women, I think it's a general thing. I don't think you should North alone. But I think, to me, the Northern women are empowered. We don't see it. Because the successful, if you see, I'm talking even in areas like places like Killinochchi and Mana and things, there are people who had, I think when you're pushed against corners, you're reborn. That's the way I would put it. So empowerment is a requirement. When you're empowered to do something, then automatically you would do something very successfully. So I think somewhere down the line it's connected. Entrepreneurship is, if you want to be successful, you need to be an empowered woman or a man. It goes along with it. If you want to be successful in running a business or an entity, you need to feel that you can do it. Against any odds. So obviously a female has to be empowered to become a good entrepreneur. So that's my answer. I'm not sure.
No, that's good. We're running short of time. Babu, you have your hand up. So would you like to speak?
Yes. You guys can hear me, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we talked about the limitations for women, like they have to have a flexible work schedule and all that due to family obligations and limitations on travel, etc. So how about purely online businesses where they can work from home, just a single person business or multiple women? Like, some examples are like e-commerce businesses or online media, education, even bookkeeping services. So how about online businesses?
Yeah. Jasmine, can you comment on that?
Yeah, it is a good question, but actually, I for my business itself, I wanted to promote more online services because it's a cashew nut processing, so it's very, they pay more money for that product, but still I don't see very good growth in that one. We tried hard, but it doesn't work well for my company. But there is a room for we are to continuously promoting. But I think in Northern Province still it is in a lower stage. There is a very big room for growth, and also the transport and the hurdles that we feel often, and then from COVID to now and all, right? It's always talking about these things. But there are, with YAL IT Hub and all, there are a lot of these online services has developed, but still I did not see any promising growth on that, But they are doing very well, actually. But when comparing the start, it's doing well. I think we need to promote more. But again, I don't think that this would be an option for women to stay home and all, because here, they have to come out to develop their business. It may be a supporting system for them, but not always an option for them, I guess.
Right.
All right.
Now,
you.
yeah, sorry. But the getting new businesses can also be done through the web, right? So it doesn't have to, you don't have to go out and get business. A lot of businesses, they just get the customers through online, right? But anyway, this is a suggestion to sort of, have online businesses as an option, purely online business. I
Yeah,
understand.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But in North, this digitalization, even in Sri Lanka, when comparing other countries, it's very, very much lower. The many people, even many businesses, they didn't use online banking, right? So, so it's moving to that level. It's for small businesses, still it's a very big gap we need to fill. But it's a good
Thank you.
option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask Shanthi and Jasmine one last thing. I'm going to tell you now, and then I'm going to ask Vasi because he had his hand up. So that gives you a couple of minutes to think. What is one misconception people have about women entrepreneurs in the North? So is that clear? That Jasmine, is that clear? One misconception. Okay, Vasi, you had your hand up, and that'll give Shanthi and
Yes,
Jasmine
yeah.
two.
Jasmine, my question is, in terms of your capacity, which you spoke before, is there an opportunity to add value for things like peanuts? And also, that's one thing, and opportunity to import kaju and process value add. Thank you.
Chicken, is this specifically not for this area? Are you okay to answer this?
Well, very quickly.
Okay. Actually, we tried peanut and we are still working on that. And also the export, we are trying always import and do process and send back. It is a process. We are working on that. We tried last time. It doesn't work. We are open to that.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So now to wind up, this one
Jagan Deepal here. Can I have a quick statement?
is that a question or a statement?
As a banker, what I've observed in microcredit, I agree with Shanthi. There are less defaults among women. Their discipline is high, but where the SMEs are concerned, the SME programs, training programs, we see it's a what Sati said is correct. It's an island-wide program, island-wide phenomena. Not only in Jaffna, women don't come forward that much to make use of the SME programs conducted by banks. I think there what we need is to improve women leadership countrywide. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Deepa. That's very interesting. So, Shanthi, can you wind up one misconception people have about women entrepreneurs in the North?
Okay, first, in general, then women entrepreneurs. In general, the northern women people in Bandaj, I'm talking not from North, but I'm just taking from outside. They're very soft and very not aggressive enough, and but they can. They're smart though. But all those things are there in general. I have heard people telling, and I have heard sometimes people saying, no, you're not, they disown me saying that you're not a Sri Lankan, they say. Instead of saying I'm not a Northerner, they say I'm not. Number two, very simple, they have a profile of this Northern women, which doesn't fit the Northern women at all, right? Possibly that's years back, and I really don't know because even my mother was not there, so I can't. The second is entrepreneurs. They generally feel they're not organized, I don't know, right? I'm just again talking outside from what I would know, like in the sense they can't manage their finances, they will not dedicate themselves fully. They have other things to run, the homes to do and things in general. And some of them may be so. And also, see, one thing that I see not happening is want to do something completely different. Now, for me, Jasmine was like a breath of fresh air when I met her first time. Oh, this lady is doing cashew nuts in some place out there. Like I haven't met anybody who was doing cashew nuts there. So very few like that. So with the serious things, you wouldn't want to do. You would do a little here, a little there, and you would do entrepreneurship, but not really. I'm saying if you really want to do, you need to make it bigger. And I think the misconception here is northern women can. I have met so many of them, even in the recent times. They amaze me, Jaga. Like, they're smart, they are they can, they can do it. And sometimes, thing is, I think where the misconception come is they are not able to do. They are not given the opportunity or rather recognition to do. Now, that happens sometimes, maybe your peer groups, they overpower maybe. And I have seen that it happens. Today I spoke to, when I was at the airport and somebody called, and that's from the Vavuniya GS office. The call came and I was surprised. I took the call. And then she said, "Oh, I'm really sorry. நான் மாறி அடிச்சிட்டேன்," she said. I said, "Okay, பரவாயில்ல கதைக்கலாம் என்ன நம்பர் உங்கள்கிட்ட இருக்கு," because she was one of the ladies with the planning director who was there, right? And the very first time when I met her, I was completely taken aback. I have seen, then I met somebody in Killinochchi, the AGA is a lady there. Then this week when I was in Jaffna, I met the assistant commissioner in the mayor's office. I'm again a female. And these females whom I'm meeting are fully empowered, right? And there are SME people who are doing SMEs also. I have met very few, but a handful of people. But so which means they have it. It's just the environment sometimes doesn't allow. I think that's a misconception, but goes out. What people see is that environment. They don't see the people who can do it. It's only if you can give an opportunity of just a little nudge and just a little, support in there from whether it's a group of people who are working or whether it's but definitely the bankers area is something that I too agree, especially at that level of working, because I don't think it's to do with, I think it's to do with whether they will actually do it is the thing, because they have to look after the family, they have to do, and also most of the time they don't have assets to declare to kind of, and also even if it is so, perhaps they may have to ask permission from a partner or a family or something. Unless I own it, I may not be able to. Maybe those are the things. But in general, the misconception I see it, the more of them can do, but the rest of the world doesn't see that they can do. So that's a huge, it plays a huge difference in there. Thanks, Shaka.
Thank you, Shanthi. And Francis. Jasmin.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I also thought the same. But the thing is, the women, the northern women, they may speak very micro level from their business, but they may not able to strategically speak about this one in a statement like. But if you are sit with them and talk, they might have very deeper and very good thought on that. But as you said, they don't express much themselves. So generally, they are not taken as a hotspot at the site. When you all see in the first sight, they may not be taken into account, right? But many of the entrepreneurs, they have very, very thoughtful on their business, very strategically, but they can't explain in the word, right? As the business people or other people expect. Even they talk from their experience in kitchen, but it will be a very strategic statement, right? That can change the world, but it will not be in the format that others expect, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have to wrap up now. We've overrun a little bit, but that was a fantastic session. I will ask Shanthi and Jasmine for their contact details, which I will share when I share the recording. But thank you, everybody. Thank you in particular, Shanthi and Jasmine. And as usual, we can say, have a nice breakfast in the States. I don't know, it's probably lunchtime in the UK. Time for tea here in Colombo and Jaffna, and good night in Australia. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye then.
Jagan and Jasmine.
Thank you,
and Shanthi. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.